we'll be teaching about plant tissue and transport. First, we will go over the basic types of plant tissues. Next, we'll talk about how plants internally transport materials. And finally, we will discuss how the plants move materials over short and long distances using the xylem and the phloem. So let's begin by introducing what exactly our system is. Our system includes the different types of plant tissues and how these tissues are able to transport necessary materials throughout the plant. The main types of plant tissue systems includes the dermal, the vascular, and the ground tissue.
Are very similar to dermal tissues or the skin of humans. Within the dermis, the tissues are divided up as the epidermis, the cuticle, and in some plants, the periderm. Just as in humans, the dermal tissue serves to protect the plant from injury or pathogens. The periderm overtakes the epidermis in older parts of the roots and stem, and like the epidermis, is a protective layer. Only wooded plants have a periderm, which we know as the bark. Vascular tissues ease the material transport and give structural support. The xylem and phloem fall under this category. The phloem carries sugars from photosynthesis from the leaves to places of growth in the plant, while the xylem transport minerals and water upward through the plant.
Lastly, of tissues neither vascular nor dermal, it is ground tissue. It can be specialized for storage, photosynthesis, and more. Moving on, we will lay out how plants are able to transport materials within the plant. There are several ways in which plants move water and minerals. First is the idea of moving things like solutes just between cells. Just like other organisms, plants utilize passive and active transport to get minerals in and out of the cell. Plants also have to move materials over long distances in the plant, a process called bulk flow. The tracheids and vessel components of the xylem and the sieve tube structures of the phloem are responsible for facilitating this process. They lack a cytoplasm, a feature which you can think of as preventing a clogged drain. Let's look at transport processes in the xylem and phloem more closely. To get the water or minerals into the xylem or phloem, they first must be taken up by the roots. The tips of the roots absorb the water molecules and dissolve mineral ions amid a soil solution. These resources flow through the endodermis into the vascular cylinder and up through the tracheids of the xylem.
Bulk flow is much faster than active and passive transport. The xylem sap made up of the water and minerals is driven up through the xylem by a mechanism described by the cohesion tension hypothesis. This says that transpiration pulls the xylem sap while cohesion among the water molecules transfers the pull along the chain of water molecules. Because of this tension, the xylem sap is said to be under a negative pressure. Transport of sugars in the phloem can be thought of as opposite process to the xylem transport. Sugars travel from sources of photosynthesis in the leaves to spots of new growth in buds, roots, stems, and fruits, which are called the sinks.